have our next speaker. He needs no introduction, known by all. Dynamic Mr. Javed Rafiq. May I request you come on stage and to have your presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, INBAC is a play on words. The C in INBAC stands for community. All of us here, 100 or so engineers, the best and brightest from India. The B and the A stands for building automation. And building automation starts with a building. But today I'm here to talk about the IN, integrated, and that's what the topic is about. But let's go into basics a little bit. In a control system, we have an input, we have a controller, and we have an output. In the early days, when the buildings were smaller, a thermostat was enough to manage and control the building or the fan coil unit. But as the buildings became bigger and more complicated, so did our controllers. We made controllers using integrated circuits, which became very large integrated circuits. We added more inputs to it, more outputs to it, and the controllers became freely programmable. And then we started connecting these controllers, layering them zone-wise. And then we connected it back into a computer, now a tablet, a phone, and that effectively is a building management system, or the architecture at least, in its simplest form. But let's go a bit deeper and look at some history of how controls have evolved in the industry. Starting with proprietary protocols. So in the early days, when control systems were networked and integrated, control manufacturer A would come out with a family of controls, controller A, B, C, and these would all network to each other back into their own building management system or a front end. However, manufacturer B, who also has got some controllers of his own or her own, would network their controllers. But the problem with proprietary systems was these manufacturers couldn't talk to each other. The whole idea about openness is about interoperability, seamless integration, mixing and matching different solutions irrespective of who the manufacturer is. That is the idea behind open systems. So to solve this problem, the industry came up with a solution called gateways. Now, a gateway is a device that communicates from manufacturer A to manufacturer B. It's like a gateway. It opens the gate for you. Now, as I said, the whole idea of openness was to create interoperability. But let's step back and think about it. Are we not getting further logged into the system now? Because now you're logged into 3 different manufacturers. If the whole idea was to unlock, we got controller manufacturer A, control manufacturer B, and now a gateway manufacturer who could be a third party again. Isn't this the case of a frying pan into the fire? So then the instrumentation world, came up with open protocol, seamless integration, different manufacturers on the same bus talking to each other, irrespective of whose controller it is. But have we actually solved the problem? And let's dig a bit deeper, or let's go one floor above my building, my favorite building. So how did our industry evolve? Let's take a look at a bit more history. A lot of protocols came up. BACnet, Modbus, DALI, KNX, OBIX. In many ways, the industry became very fragmented. Imagine a hypothetical world where we've got internet version A in the United Kingdom and internet version B in India. I can talk to my friends in the UK while I'm in the UK, but I can't talk to you without a gateway in between. And which way do you go? Do you go Modbus? Now, what happened from an end user point of view? Some of these protocols survived, some didn't survive. But what we do know for a fact now, with these lessons, is that open protocol is here to stay, and multiple protocols are here to stay as well. And we need to find a way around it so that it is truly open. And this is what integration looks today. A controller talking multiple protocol. You can bring in BACnet and take out Modbus. You can have DALI having a reaction to another protocol like LonWorks, MeterBus where you have meters connected. Now I want to play the devil's advocate, and I want to make you think. Let's draw a parallel first. A controller is pretty much like a PC, isn't it? It's like an Excel sheet, really. You give it junk, it'll give out junk. You put the right formula, you get the right. But let's look at how we are networking a controller. A PC, my apologies. A PC now connects to printers, monitors, keyboards, mice, and they're all on different connections. Firewire, HDMI, USB, Bluetooth, USB-C. Sounds like a great solution, doesn't it? Now is when I want to play the devil's advocate. I jumped the gun early. So for that, I'm going to bring the devil himself. I hope you had a good Dashera, so I thought it was relevant to add it in there. So I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. You got manufacturer A, and you got manufacturer B, both on their own operating systems, connected through an open protocol. That's how the systems are today, aren't they? Let's draw another parallel with the PC world. You got Windows on the left, and you got Apple computer on the right. The Windows computer runs on Windows, and the Apple computer runs on the iOS operating system. Yes, I can connect it using a Cat6 cable, and I can transfer data from one computer to another. But isn't this a more complicated solution again? Because now you need to be a master in both operating systems. My family is completely on Apple, and I can't stand it. I'm still a Windows guy. Is this a good solution? I'm not here to give answers, but perhaps make you think. Is it still not the case of frying pan into the fire? So I want to do a bit of idealism here. Should the BAS world, the Building Automation Systems world, look like this? You got IBM ThinkPad, you got a HP, and you got a Dell, all on the Windows operating system. Innovation is happening, but on the hardware. But they're all on the same platform. Is that possible? I don't know. Anyways, I'm almost on the top floor. So industry and integration as it looks today, and I'm expanding my architecture a little bit more, integration happens at multiple levels. There is one integration which is at the basic instrument level where manufacturers like myself connect controllers over Modbus or BACnet, Modbus RTU or BACnet MSTP, transferring information from one protocol to another, because those two standards seem to be the promising standards for the BAS industry. We're almost standardizing. On the controller level, we got Modbus IP or BACnet IP, where the transfer of information takes place. And now we are capable of connecting to integrated building management systems, where CCTV, fire, and HVAC are connected to each other, and you've got a control strategy or sequence of operation where there will be a cause and effect between one system to another system. Another layer, and I was hearing this today when one of the gentlemen was speaking, talking about OBICs. and business systems, where we are connecting a business system, like an ERP or a enterprise resource planning software or a hotel management system, where you're connecting the business to the engineering and having cause and effect between these two systems. This is how the architecture is today at this point of time. But what's next for the industry? The next thing I expect to see, or we hear a lot about, these are the new buzzwords on there: wireless, cloud, big data, IoT, artificial intelligence. One thing I'm sure about, because even looking at integration, we started with hardwired systems, which became daisy-chained through open protocol. I think the next step is definitely wireless. As Neil deGrasse Tyson says, we would be able to take energy from the multiverse in the future. Who knows? Hey, we are already taking energy wirelessly on wireless phones. But this is definitely going to happen at some point in time when it is happening today, not that it isn't, Mr. Wireless Manufacturer, but it's going to get more cost effective. It's going to become, 20 years back, wireless wasn't most reliable. Now we take Wi-Fi for granted. I think it's time to discuss these things now with what we are doing with INBAC, Integrated Building Automation Community, and I guess that's what Vital is about. Let's start this conversation now. Create the rules, standardize, and let's start talking about the next wireless systems. Let's learn from what we have learned from the previous mistakes, not have a standards war. We don't want another Betamax and VHS. And often it all comes down to striking a balance between innovation and standardization. So I want to end my presentation with that. We are Integrated Building Automation Community. Let's come together. Let's make the rules together. Thank you.